congratulate the Research Heights Foundation for organizing such a huge event, collecting all the researchers from across the country and having this event here to discuss on the empowering India's research future. A very important topic and a subject which actually need to be dealt in depth. And I'm sure that in the sessions what we have today, people will be able to get through what is the research way forward in the country and what is the various policies, modalities, what need to be brought in, and how to channelize the large skill set or the large population available in the country towards that direction. So I am sure the eminent personalities who are present will be able to deal with this. Coming to the aspect of the research in the country, let me little go through historically and how we have come forward, where we stand today and how we need to take it forward. First of all, we all have to be very clear that the Indian capabilities are very high. The Indian brains have a tremendous capabilities is one thing we all should believe. We all should have confidence in that. This is number one. To say that, I like to give you some facts what in past what we had and then how things have gone down. For almost about 2000 to 2500 years, India was leading in the forefronts of all these areas. We have been the forefront of academics, knowledge, research, industry, richness, and everything. Till about 1750, India was contributing 24.8% of the productivity of the world. The industrial production, India was 24.8%. The income, the world income if you take, India was 25%. 25% of the world income was from India. Then if you look at the contribution to the world GDP, India was 35%. And India and China together were 60%, just two countries. This was the contribution from India out of its knowledge, out of the continuous research and continuous efforts in various manufacturing and other fields, what we have been doing. And from 1750, by the time the invasions have gone through ages and the real ruling of this country, including the minds of the people started, and by about 1900 plus or 1900, this has gone to rock bottom. Rock bottom. By the time we got the independence, we are at the rock bottom of all these things. The complete systems were destroyed. Whether it is academics or the industrial, homegrown industries, homegrown capabilities, all have gone down. And then these things what I said, these percentages of industrial output, income, GDP, everything have touched rock bottom of less than 2%. From 35% onwards, it has come down to less than 2%. That is the way the country has gone down. We only started knowing that we have to get the technology, we have to get products, we have to get everything knowledge from outside. That was the scenario by the time independence has come. We started importing everything, everything. And we had believed in the country, we started believing in the country that everything outside is better and we do not have anything. From there, the independent India started building. Let me tell you, having come from defense and defense technologies and aerospace, we were importing everything from outside. And organizations are created here to lay down the specifications what you have to import, to see the quality assurance and the quality of the system and inward inspection of the systems what you are buying, how to do that, how to accept a system that it is meeting the requirements what you have asked. That was the situation where we entered. If you look at the academic institutes, no academic institute in the country was anywhere in the world map. No academic institute was in the world map. That is the situation where. That is where the country started building, again from this rock bottom stage, one after other. Systems were created, institutes were created, organizations were created in multiple areas. They started sowing the seeds of knowledge build in the country. And then people were looking at how to build small things and all that. By about late 1970s, the country started showing signs of building its own systems. By the time our IITs are fully established, some of the universities established, some of the universities started showing the signs of that capabilities. That is the situation. In fact, even like Professor C.V. Raman, the people, Professor Jagadish Chandra Bose, to have an indigenous research in the country, not dependent on that, they had to establish a center for indigenous research, for cultivation of science and research, an institute in the Calcutta, and these people had to go there, including C.V. Raman from South had to go to Calcutta, and in that one institute, the famous Nobel laureates of India, all these people have worked in that institute in Calcutta and worked there. That is, of course, pre-independence, I am saying. So, the post-independence, as I said, late 1970s, we all have come out with our own institutes, our central institutes, our IITs, various prominent state universities. They all started providing the knowledge to us, and these institutes like ISRO, Atomic Energy, DRDO, and then later the CSIR, DBT, all these organizations started working these academic institutes and building the systems and all that. Why I am saying is, some of the state universities have also contributed a lot to this country in this knowledge building up. Example you take, Jadavpur University in Calcutta. That was one of the prominent institutes in the country which has contributed a lot to the DRDO, ISRO, Atomic Energy and all the organizations in building the systems. Even Calcutta University, even Bengal Engineering College. I am talking about not the central institute, the state institutes were able to contribute a lot and doing it. They were in fact the first institutes which contributed a lot. And as I said, with all this, showing the signs of the first developments of scientific research here in the country, we could see the important scientific leaders of the country have shown their vision and built these institutions and the systems. Like Homi J. Bhabha in atomic energy, Vikram Sarabhai in the space, Later, 80s, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam in the defense, Swaminathan, Green Revolution, Kurian, Milk Revolution. So these are all the people who have laid visionary roadmaps and led the country. Homi J. Baba, in the 70s, the first nuclear test what is done in our desert in Rajasthan. And Sarabhai leading the programs and the SLV program coming up. In fact, I like to mention why they are called visionaries. Sarabhai, when he said, in the coming decades, it is difficult for us to live without having space technology. People didn't know what is he talking. What is he saying that why space is required for us to live on the earth? Now you see, everything is space dependent. That is how it is. That is the visionaries. SLV, ASLV, PSLV, GSLV, whatnot and all that we will hear from our Dr. Somnath, all those things. And you see other side, the pharmaceutical industry started in the country. Various industries, establishments have come. HAL, BEL, ordnance factories, and BHEL, lot of bigger establishments in the government supported establishments have come. Imagine, and that time we started showing to very specific programs and trying to develop all those things, which led to this. Dr. Kalam started in 82 the Integrated Guided Missiles Development Program and taking up Prithvi, Agni, Akash, Trishul, Nag in the city of Hyderabad here and showing the signs of it. Before that, when the HL started, and see the specific focused areas how the country has done, HAL has built the first fighter aircraft in the country. First fighter aircraft. And that was the first fighter aircraft in the whole of Asia outside Russia. The first fighter aircraft this country built in that time, 60s, whole of Asia, the first fighter aircraft. These are all a sporadic, focused approaches by few individuals. And that's how those systems have come. And that's how the academia, industry, these organizations working together, ISRO, Academic Energy, CSIR, DBT, all these started working with academia and all that and started showing the signs of this coming up. If you look at those periods before 70s, I don't think there was any academic institute in the country which was ranking in the first 500 of the world rankings. And later, by 90s, we had the first two institutes coming in the first 500 rankings, the IITs, in the global rankings. Started working on that. And various developments started happening after, as I said, this Atomic Energy, ISRO, DRDO, CSIR labs showing the science in each and every area developments. We started building our own machines in the country. The HMT here in Hyderabad started building the machines which are required for the country. Of course, later went down, that is a separate issue, and then again showing the signs of coming up and all that. That is where the country started showing. And then by late 80s, we have shown our strengths in these areas where we have shown successful testings. Whether it is ASLV, PSLV, we establishing the atomic power plants, we establishing various pharmaceutical units like IDPL here in Hyderabad, and then various pharmaceutical units coming up, started showing. Agriculture, we started showing our own strengths. Various projects have come in the country, various hydro projects have come, the water distribution schemes which have come, and the agriculture yield has gone up. That's what Swaminathan's revolution, what we are saying, Green Revolution, started showing that. And from there, I think we started moving quicker and faster. Now, from there, As I said, talking more about defense, I don't want to get into that other areas for the time being right now. The ones which started as first missile, 1988 Prithvi, we went up, Prithvi, Agni, Akash, Trishul, Nag, Astra, then you're talking about BrahMos, talking about ballistic missile defense programs, various things we started building up in the country. Lot of developments. Industry, academia, as I said, were minimal contributing except few institutes. Lot of academic institutes started participating. Various IITs. We developed a center in the IIC, Indian Institute of Science. IIT Kanpur, IIT Mumbai, IIT Kharagpur, IIT Chennai started working in a big way with us. And various professors are able to sit and review and many things. And academia's contribution towards this, into this scientific systems development endeavor, or otherwise the industrial endeavor, it started coming in. Look at the industry side. Industries, very minimal industries were there when we talk about 1980. Very few in number, and those also more like working as BTP industries, built to print industries. That means you give a drawing, he goes to his machine shop, manufactures and brings it to you. That was the industry stage, that too were in few. As these programs started coming up, whether it is atomic, whatever I said, atomic energy, ISRO, DRDO, various products started coming, industry started also having interest, hope, confidence. They also started growing, making the things. And slowly that industries have migrated into as built to specifications. Larger number of started coming. That means you give a specification of the system, industry started coming up. That is how. And so today, if you look at the number of industries which are working for the defense alone, there are more than 2,000 industries in the country who are working as Tier 1 and Tier 2 industry. That means system of systems and subsystems development people. If you look at the component manufacturers, there are more than 20,000 industries working for the defense and aerospace alone. That is the stage it has come. And so industries became. And particularly now, if you look at in the last 10 years, with the drive of Make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, and many of such important clarion calls and mechanisms towards that, the things started moving very, very, very fast. Lots of industries have come. Industries started manufacturing themselves, design and development capabilities. And our side, the developments have happened, so many systems developing, so many major systems, and trying to push them, like ballistic missile defense, if you take. It's very few countries in the world which had about only 3 countries developed by that time, we could do that. BrahMos missile, when we developed it with Russia, that was the only supersonic cruise missile in the entire world. No other country had. We developed our own ATACMS gun, 155 artillery gun. There was no gun in the country at all. We imported the gun, the Bofors gun. And now we developed a gun, ATACMS 150 artillery gun. There are 2 industries producing, Bharat Forge and Tatas are producing it. And the gun which is developed now, which is fired in the ceremonial firing at the Red Fort on the 15th of August last year when Honorable Prime Minister was speaking, and that gun was ceremonially fired. First time an indigenous gun was used there, and that gun is now the world's longest range. No other gun in the world has the range of the Indian gun what we have today. And when we did the anti-satellite test, with the technologies available here in the country, the ballistic missile defense technologies and the ISRO's capabilities and whatnot and all that, and knocking off a satellite in the low Earth orbit, which is moving at 7.8 kilometers per second velocity, and the missile which has gone with about 3.1 kilometers per second, having a relative velocity of about 11.1 kilometers per second velocity, and going and hitting a just 1 meter by 1 meter fellow with from the center just at 3 centimeters accuracy. The world got astonished that India could do such a secret mega mission. India became the 4th country after Russia, America and China. We have done that anti-satellite test in 2019, March 27th. In fact, the test left many debris, the way the test is conducted, and the few debris were there, and nothing happened to anything in the world, and there is no debris of that test at all today. But the China what has done the same test, there are thousands of debris even today in the space now today, whereas India's debris, none out of the test is there today in the space. That is how India has shown. It was shown actually primarily the Honorable Prime Minister's vision in the test was that let us do a mega mission, instill the confidence in the country's researchers that we are able to do this, and show to the world that India has such capability to do it. Now definitely India has seen the capabilities. The way our students have emerged, academic institutes have emerged in the country. Today we have more than 1,000 universities in the country today. We have 4.38 crores of students who are pursuing higher education today. Huge change, enormous. And we captured the IT market. The IT what was revolutionizing, coming up. Right moment we captured it, and our skill set has gone, and everywhere in the world our students are there. Our people are there working. Millions and millions of people. The number of engineering institutions seeing these opportunities have gone up in the country. And today, we are producing close to about 1.5 million engineers. 1.5 million engineers. When I joined engineering, we were producing 7,000 or 8,000 engineers that time. Those 8,000 engineers itself was difficult to find a job. Actually, engineers, that time most popular subject was civil engineering. People used to go to civil engineering because we were trying to build our infrastructure in the country. Now today 1.5 million engineers, I think 90% of them are getting placed today. 90% of them are getting placed here or abroad or wherever it is. So you go everywhere, everybody in everything. That has changed the landscape of the whole country. You go to any village. Other day I went to my village and that older man is going behind the buffaloes, taking it to the field. Some 10 buffaloes is going. I called him, how are you, what is it happening, where are your grandchildren? He says, मुझे नहीं मालूम यार ये पूरा कुछ देश है, ये कनाडा में है बोलते, ये ऑस्ट्रेलिया में है थे, ये तो this man is going behind the buffaloes. That is the situation. So many lives have changed. People who have studied, who have become engineers and all. So today that 1.5 million engineers are working everywhere in the globe and trying to say that. See, number of institutions have expanded. There are only 5 IITs. Now every state has an IIT. There was NITs in some places. Every state has an NIT today. Every state has a central university today. Every state has an AIIMS today. Many ISERs, Indian Institute of Science, Education, Research are coming. That's of course, that is a slightly different story. I'll tell about it. So the institutions have expanded tremendously. Our academic ranking started improving in big way. Today, we have many academic institutes in the world, in our country, which are ranked below 500 in the world. And first institute, IIT Bombay, is at 108, is the ranking. And below 200 itself, we have about 3 or 4 academic institutes today. And we are trying fast to go to in the first 100. That is the trying, we are trying to do, that academic institutes standards and all are going up and trying to become world leaders. Now world is showing interest, world best institutes are trying to show interest, are coming up trying to establish campuses here. Whereas we were all going outside earlier. We were going and studying there. Now those academic institutes are coming. There is another important statistics. Earlier, majority of the undergraduate students, more than 75% of the academic graduates who have come out of the IITs were going abroad today. With this expansion of the education system institutions in the country today, from these primary institutes, more than 75% of the undergrad students of our premier IIT institutions are staying back here in the country. That is a sea change which has again come. They are all here, they are all working here, they are working from the nation. This is again a sea change which has come. So imagine the type of change which has come here in the country and trying to evolve yourself as a nation, which is. See, with this, if you look at the number of PhD students have gone more than 207,000 PhD students today. Enormous number. And we have become world number 3. We are number 3 in the world, that number of PhD students who are pursuing. Similarly, people who are publishing the papers, again it is somewhere about 209,000 or something like that is the statistics, which says that we are again world number 3 in the number of papers we are publishing today. If you take the mechanisms which have come out, promoting, lots of mechanisms have come, research and all that. Today, I can proudly say there are more than 400 academic institutes which are working with DRDO today in the country. We have 15 centers of excellence which are there working with DRDO. There are more than about 3,000 researchers in the academic institutes who are working on the defense projects today. And same thing you take ISRO, Atomic Energy, CSIR, DBT, DST, so many things, so much of funding is coming and so much of research programs expanded and then trying to do. Everybody can look for a project. In fact, when we studied, we never had in our institutions called something called Director R&D. You go to every institute today, there is a Director R&D, in a small engineering colleges also. Somewhere you go there and people are trying to do some research and innovation. We don't know what is in innovation. In our days, if we want to establish industry, it's a big task, big risk. Only jiske paas paisa hai, wo kar sakte hai. And nobody can do it. And who has a courage to do something to establish industry, he was doing. You have to have a land, you have to have a factory, what you need to produce, finance, go to bank, go to collateral secretary, all that. And today you see, every academic institute has got, prominent academic institute has got an incubation center. More or less every state government has got incubation center. You go there, walk in, you put your ideas, and then you are able to come out with ideas. There are many, many schemes. In each and every ministry, there is a funding scheme which has come, which promotes this. And see, 2016, in our country, we just had 458 startups. And today, just today, we have touched more than 1.8 lakh startups. 1.8 lakh startups. And they are more or less giving jobs to about 11 lakh people today in the country. Or maybe more than that, I think 20 lakh people. That is the way the startups are coming. And the way the startups are coming with the innovations are not like what we were. As I said, when our days, we go to HMT, aapko kya part chahiye? I will put an industry and then I will make it in my industry and give it to you. And then he says, this part I need, I want 100 numbers or 200 numbers a month. And then we put a factory and try to make it and supply, which was called ancillary unit. Whereas now today, the people who are thinking at least, and many of them are also truly doing it, it is a globally competitive product. Globally, he thinks that what I am coming with an idea or a design, there should not be anything in the world. And I should be doing that. That is what is called globally competitive product. So the change from ancillary mindset to a globally competitive mindset, it has come. Globally. And so that is why if you look at our deep tech startups in the country, it is not that the people in India, the financial institutions or private financial institutions which are funding, majorly they are funded from abroad because the type of deep tech capability what is there. I think somewhere somebody was telling, Lakshmanji was telling, I think, the skill set is so much. Now today, one statistic says, in the next couple of years, 40% of the world's skill set is from India. 40% of the world's skill set. It is so much is happening. Our researchers are so many abroad. When we did Vaishvik Bharati Vignan Sammelan, a online event for about 1 month, there are more than 12,000 professors, academicians of Indian origin working abroad participated in that. More than 12,000. And the people actually who are there are more than 25,000. That is the number of people who are working from this country who have gone. And that is the way it is shaping up. So now today you look at it. Many of the advanced technologies related, the schemes have come from the government. Quantum mission, 6,000 crores. The ANRF scheme, 50,000 crores. We just saw other day the research funding in the industry, what it has given is 1 lakh crores for the TRL level 4 plus category the government has come. Cyber physical system, 3,600 crores. So you see any artificial intelligence, again AI mission, and likewise Digital India mission, semiconductors, 76,000 crores incentives. And you talk about every department, you talk about DRDO, you talk about Ministry of Defence Production, you talk about ISRO, Atomic Energy, DOT, MIT, they all have funding schemes which are coming out supporting, like example in the Ministry of Defence, IDEX, which promotes innovations, technology development funding, which promotes technology development funding. Can you ever imagine the technology development funding gives you 50 crore rupees for every industry, just a college se bahar aaya, that type of a boy, 50 crores without a collateral security based on just your idea. And you are giving 50 crores, we can never imagine. That is the type of a funding which has come and promoting these things. So it is now, with all these schemes, with all these available mechanisms and funding schemes and all that, we need to go up. Yes, our funding for the whole R&D, it has changed a lot from 64,000 crores to we are now gone to 1.24 lakh crores. And even then, of course, still we are about 0.7% of the GDP for the whole R&D funding. And the government aims to take it to 2%, and trying to see that we are becoming a leader in this. And we look at in all these advanced researches, whether it is AI or quantum and all that, if you do look at the research publications, citations in the conferences, we are standing somewhere around 5 and 6 in most of these areas. The number of publications, papers what we publish. So we are shaping ourselves to become a leader in this, to become an advanced nation. So what we need to look at it? There are so many things which we need to do still. Firstly, we need to do a fundamental and basic research in the academic institutes. This is the fundamental, most important thing. We may be good at building systems. We should be good building at the core elements what are required in that. Today, if you look at in most of the areas, core elements are still bought out. I will give you two popular examples for this. We are now about 12 gigawatts in solar power now today, roughly. And there are lots of industries which have come solar panels making and solar power stations. But every solar cell more or less is imported today. Every solar cell. We are not making the most advanced solar cells anywhere in the country. We talk about batteries. So many EV vehicles and so many things have come. And we talk about lithium batteries. More or less, 95% of the lithium cells are imported. I just gave a very popular example without getting into the areas of devices, sensors, detectors and whatnot, other components and all that. These are the fundamental elements which come out of the science. That is why the scientific fundamental research you need to go. In fact, that is why I think the government started IISER, Indian Institute of Science Education Research. We have been moving more and more towards technologies and systems. We should be doing a science and education and research. ISERs have come up. This is the fundamental thing. So that is where, if you look at any of those institutes, academic institutes abroad or scientific organizations, the core fundamental research what happens, that is what is winning them the Nobel Prizes. We need to build that. We need to build the laboratories. We need to build the researchers there. That is what is very, very important, that we need to build these fundamental elements. In fact, the organizations like ISRO, DRDO and all that, because the research is not happening at that level, or the development is not happening in the industry at that level, majorly these organizations are doing research, they are doing the design and development, and sometimes they are doing the production also. This has to be, so if the basic thing what needs to be done is, the academic institutes' focus should be on the basic research and applied research. And the organizations like DRDO, ISRO, or the other organizations should be applied to translational research. And then the industry should be able to do whole of design and development and also research in the niche areas. That is why the government has come out with so much of funding for the industry. Industry should be able to do also research, R&D. That's the most important thing. Like today, you see whatever we are doing, pharmaceutical exports, most of those things are done in the industry itself today. Whatever the formulations are done, they have everybody in R&D cell. But it is not much in majority of the other areas. We are not actually still got machines making here in the country. 90% of the machines which are there in our own workshops, machine shops which are there in the country are all imported either from Japan or Germany and all that. Look at the hospitals, 99% of the equipment is bought from outside and we are doing. And most of the critical element, even the research areas, what we use, the instruments, what we use, equipment, what we use is imported. We need to do all these things, that fundamental research, both in the government organizations and in the industry. Majority of this equipment come from industry. You look at abroad, Honeywell, Agilent, or this sort of a industries you call, they are all building on their own research. Yes, they collaborate with academic institutes, collaborate with the research organizations and try to make it. And that is what we need to do. It is not that, see, I go to majority of the engineering colleges, they say that, sir, I have made this particular application in FPGA. It is the outermost layer, whereas we need to go to the innermost level. That is what is important. So this particular aspect of academia concentrating with all the huge funds, what we are getting, not concentrating on the outer layer innovations, outer layer product coming out, basic research and applied research. The organizations, government research organizations should be working. Of course, where they are very specific to them, where it cannot happen, you do the research there, applied research and translation research. Industry should be doing the research in the niche areas and a strong design and development capabilities. And then the startups focusing on the innovations. Innovation is everywhere. Innovation in a research is also innovation. In a development also innovation. And coming out with a product based on the technology available is also innovation. And trying to come out with that is an important thing. There is one more important point what I wanted to say about the academics today is one thing, very serious concern in the nation today is the status of the state universities. Status of the state universities, if you look at, in the last 5 decades, majority of the things have fallen down. And whereas more than 90% of the students of this country are coming from the state universities. We need to look at those state universities. We need to fund them. We need to see the infrastructure goes up. We need to see that the talent comes and joins as the faculty there. That is the most important thing. I always consider who is the most important element in an academic institute is the faculty. The professor is the most important. If there is a knowledgeable professor who is there in a particular institute and everything develops around him. So we need to build. See, that started. Actually, if you look at many people from abroad who are working there, doing postdocs who have done, docs have done there, and they are professors there, they started coming back to this country. If you look at, I am talking about 10 years back when IIT Hyderabad was there, 2011, 10, I am talking about it. The majority of the faculty were youngsters and most of them were postdocs from abroad. Most of them. And the average age must have been about 29 or 30. And 70% of them were bachelors. They were not even married. Youngsters from abroad have come. The trend has already started. That means if you establish the institutions, there is a culture in the institutions, people will definitely come and work here. We need to do that. So the state universities, if we are producing 4.32 crores of higher education students here in this country, and 90% of them coming out from us, we cannot be just happy saying that my people who have come from IITs or NITs or other institutions like that, who have come, they are all very good. We have to see that the quality of these 90% of the students is also equally good. We need to focus on that. This is a national movement which is required to see that these state universities The organizations like ABRS, Lakshmanji is here, and they should all work towards developing a national opinion that the state universities should be strengthened in a big way. This is what is, I feel, very important. When we say that 40% of the world's skill set is going to be from India, that 90% of that 40% is going to be from the state universities. And we need to see that the standard of this goes up. So then the overall standard level in the country goes up. This is what is an important thing. So we need to focus on that. And also one more thing I want to say. Don't get carried away in research, scientific research, by some only few technologies which have come out and then everybody starts about it. I actually feel you talk about technology anywhere in any workshop in scientific, because you are all scientists, you are all researchers I am talking. You go to any meeting today and you say talk about science and technology, and 60% of the time we start spending on AI. I am not against anything on this or anything. There are all few subjects which have come emerging and all that. We need to show the importance on that and all that. There are many fundamental things which are not unearthed and which we need to look at those areas and work on those fundamental areas. See, what I mean to say is we thought about these things, but we didn't do. In the 1990, I think, if I am right, Dr. Abdul Kalam started an artificial intelligence laboratory in this country called Center for Artificial Intelligence and Robotics, CARE in Bangalore. That's 1990, the famous Professor Vidyasagar was the director of it. And now in 2020, we are learning from others what to do and all those things sort of a thing. So those things we should be doing first. Identify those areas. There are innumerable areas. Actually, seminars cannot identify those areas because we have to look at each and every subject of whether it is you're talking about every area you talk about it, physics, chemistry, mathematics, or biological sciences, geological sciences, oceanography, or earth sciences, space, defense, atomic energy, or new other comings, optics areas, laser areas, electromagnetic areas, whichever it is, underwater technologies, underwater sciences and all that. We need enormous amount of areas where we need to do fundamental research. So what I mean to say is the researchers here don't come out with a research, just a research publication. It should be a core research, fundamental research, which actually brings value to you, which brings you name to you also, and name to your institution, name to the country. And that is how we come out. And that is how the country flourishes. You think a scientific outcome which has come and taken to a technology development which is not there in the entire world, which we have come out here. See how the country shapes. What is the type of technological prowess we have, prosperity what we will have. That is what is the most. Yes, engineering outcomes also are very important. Like Finland, what it has come out when the country was dying, somebody has come out with a competition saying that I'll come out with a mobile phone and then made the country do so well. That is a existing technology-based innovation outcome. But for that, what is the whole process? Scientific outcome takes you into technology. Technological development takes you into a product. This is what it is, and the innovation makes the product looks much, much better and efficient, whatnot and all that. So the fundamental is the scientific research, and that we need to identify, all of us, each department in every university should look at what is the area that I need to look at and work on that and try to come out an outcome. We should have a GIL. I am not talking about Nobel Prize is the great and all that, but it is conceived, and so why not we compete, why not we come out some of the research outcomes in all these areas. There are many people who have, from our country in the recent times also got Nobel Prizes, but working somewhere. But create that environment. What is that environment? How should we create? Think about that, creating the mechanisms and processes here so that we are having a very energetic, efficient and knowledgeable research environment in our country, and we are able to come out with such research outcomes. That is what I think that we need to look at, debate on that, and more than actually I'm talking about what area and all that, what areas and all that can be in a smaller groups of the country can think about it and come out it and think that environment creation is the most important scientific. In fact, actually, I think our Honorable Venkaiah Naidu garu was telling, knowledge dissemination is also very important. Many of the people who work in research laboratories, he doesn't want another fellow to look into it also, know it also. That type of a thing should not go, should go. We all should be spreading our knowledge and see that every level goes up, everybody. I cannot be a castor oil tree. I should not be a castor oil tree. There should be forests where there are vrukshas, mahavrukshas and all that. Imagine instead of one scientist coming out of the country, there are 1,000 scientists have come out. How the country will be? That happens if we are able to having an harmony amongst us. In the research areas and academic areas and scientific areas, harmony should be there. People should be working. There should not be an element of jealousy at all. There should be an element of appreciation. A country, a society is a good society which we are able to appreciate each and every outcome of every individual. And that society flourishes. That is the scientific community flourishes. So that is the type of environment we all as a scientific one unity and one united community, we should be able to develop these things. And we all have to develop the opinion in the country to make these things to happen. The opinions are the ones which actually make all the things happen. And I'm sure with the initiative of Research Heights Foundation, what we are thinking about the research future of the country. See, this is a very good coin, actually, future of the research or research future. We actually put it as the word as research future. So research future, we should decide what is the future of India going to be. And what we think here and what we create an opinion is going to make the research future of this country making by 2047. I said 1750 to 1900, the fall has happened deep from top to bottom. And in 150 years from 100 years, 1947 to 2047, the 100 years, we should bring back to that what we were there in 1750. That is the aim what we should work. Jai Hind, Namaskar.